It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Magical day to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I will be your host for this magical, robust lifestyle show. I want to thank each one of our listeners that have tuned in and are listening to this podcast on the many different platforms. I am so very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And as I said, you are in for one magical show today, as I have with me my amazing returning diva, Chantel White. And her and I are going to chat about head versus heart. Oh my, does this already touch my heart? And I am so excited. So with that, Chantel, would you please introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Yes, absolutely, Joyce. It's so fun to be back, and just I love hanging out with you and Divas that Care, and just grateful for all the work you are doing in the world. So yeah, my name is Chantel White. I live in Alberta on an acreage with horses and a dog and many, wild animals that come to join me. I am a mother of 3 adult children, and I have 4 grandbabies now, another one on the way. Yeah. What else? Well, I've been doing trauma work for about 12 years. And in the last few years, I've stepped into doing Akashic Records, which has been lovely, connecting with the divine and giving messages and healing energy. So yeah, I guess that's me in a nutshell, if I could live in a nutshell, which I don't.
Oh, I love it, Chantel. And thank you so much for the kind words as you started your introduction. That was beautiful. And how you live on the acreage with your domesticated animals and all the wild animals. Because, oh man, the wild animals are so very special. There was a turtle out here this morning. Last night we saw a deer, and they're just everywhere. That is so beautiful. And I want to say to the listeners, when she does these Akashic record readings, they are incredible. You will experience something just absolutely magical, is the only way I can say it. She has done one for me, and I plan to do more, because it is just magical feeling, and it does magic to you. So I just wanted to add that, Chantel.
Well, thank you for that, Joyce. Yes, it is magic, and that's what we need to experience more of in our life, right?
Yes, definitely. And I think our topic, head versus heart, I always feel the magic comes when you go more towards your heart. That's where the magic lies. So that's my start on head versus heart.
Well, thank you for that start. We're going to see where it goes. I was sharing with you that I didn't prepare a whole bunch. I just willing to let the information come in, and through our conversation, we're going to share what lessons we've had over our life, when we live in our head versus our heart.
Yes.
Yeah, it was interesting. I've been thinking a lot about this these days, and I think it's the shift we're in right now. We're in so much shifting energetically, and there's been a huge knowledge of living more from a heart space for a lot of people. However, I think the time has come where people just can't live in their heads anymore like they used to. Like we were taught wrong for all of this time. That our head is, yes, it helps us plan certain things, but it's not the way to live our life and make, our massive life changes from our heads. It has to come from our heart. And it was interesting, like as I've been working with clients over the last few years in particular, I've noticed that people have been massively in their heads. Like it's even hard to get them into their body and their heart anymore. And I think that's what fear does to us, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so when we're making fear-based decisions that come a lot from our head, then we're living a life of fear.
Yeah. And that, to me, fear is it almost overtakes you when you
It
live.
does.
And you can't hear your heart because for me, my heart's not near as loud as what the head is. It's just a little tiny example of just listening to your heart and listening to your intuition. Is the other night I had left the house in the dark to go run an errand, and it just came into my mind, deer. And right there on the side of the road was a deer. And if
Mm,
I'd have been in my head thinking so many other things like we are, of all the to-dos and all of this and all of that, I wouldn't have heard that soft little whisper, look for the deer.
yeah.
And there it was. And it's just when you really step back and start to listen to what that small whisper is from your heart, it is just amazing how it always holds the truth.
It really does. And it shifts your life in such a profound way
Mm-hmm.
when you choose to live that way. Um, it's not easy because we're not taught that,
No.
right? We're taught to make very logical, linear decisions in this world. And when we step outside of that, and I've done a lot of that in my life, Joyce, I've had people look at me like I'm crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you sold your house and you have nowhere to go. Yep. Well, why? Because it felt right.
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah.
know?
I know. I left a corporate world career and people were like, "Why are you doing this?"
Yeah.
Because it's what's in my heart. It's what I need
Yes.
to be doing.
Yes.
And this isn't me. This is the hid me that's living in that corporate world all the
Absolutely.
time. And that's just a personal experience for me. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the corporate world if that's the world you enjoy. But
Right.
my world is out in nature and with the animals, and it was a decision I needed to make for my own self, and I needed to listen. So
Yes, absolutely. I just think about, I've watched my clients and I even, as I go back and reflect on my life thus far,
mhm,
all my decisions that came from my head, fear, it was a little bit, I would say it was a lot ego, right? It was
yes,
about what looked good or what
mhm,
sounded good and what the world accepted as normal or okay, or this is what you do in life. You go and work a 9 to 5, or you get married at this age, or you do this or you do that. um and yet when I've made the heart-based decisions, they've been so much more aligned with me and, like you said, my truth, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I so agree with you because we are it's almost like we're programmed, is
Hmm.
how I often think of it. We're programmed to do this, and at this age we do this, and then we do this. And when you do step out of that matrix, people do look at you like, "What are you doing? Have you
Hmm.
lost it?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, no, this is what my heart is telling me to do. And just listening to your heart, listening to your angels, your spirits, your
Mm-hmm.
guides, your animals, because they live from their heart all the time. They are not,
Absolutely.
they're not in that hid space like us humans are programmed to be into.
Yeah, they're definitely great teachers in
Huh?
showing us the way to live a more aligned, spiritual, um, even aligned in our value systems, that they don't question themselves like we do,
No.
right? And we think that we're keeping ourselves but you look at animals and they're safe,
Yeah.
right? Because they're in tune all the time.
Yes.
And I think, thinking about practically, because like some people might go, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean living in your heart? It's about accessing your feelings a lot,
Hmm.
and I'm not just talking emotions, but feelings, like, does this feel good to me? Does it feel right? Or does it feel ick or weird, or maybe I shouldn't do it? And often we have this ick, weird, I shouldn't do it feeling, and we push against it with our head and say, but it makes sense. It looks good.
Hmm.
Like, you know, this is the way to do it. um and that's where we really trip ourselves up in life, and we could save ourselves a lot of pain if we would just learn to listen to our feelings. Like, does this feel right for me?
Hmm. Right. And I always say you have to go inside yourself to feel what feels right for you. Because what feels right for another person, there is no right or wrong. That may not
No.
be what feels right for you. And when you talk about feelings, it comes to my mind too, when you get like a yucky, icky feeling, like you said, or if you think of something and you kind of get the chills, like, yes, I'd really love to do that. Or you
Yeah.
just kind of, your stomach may turn and you're like, yes. And yet your ego mind is going, no, that's not what you're supposed to do, because that's not what the world expects you to do.
Yeah.
So listening to your feelings, I have found a lot of times your body gives you signs that let you know what the right way is when you pay attention to it.
Oh, always, always. I haven't had a client yet that hasn't said, I knew.
Uh-huh.
Like, when I challenge them, they know. So I work a lot with women who have been in abusive situations, relationships.
Yeah.
And when I take them back, some of them have decided to still stay, and that's hard for me, as but everybody has their has their way of moving through life, right?
Right.
But even when I have them look back, at the start of their relationship, and I start getting them to tune into their feelings, they knew.
They knew.
Yet their head made them go along this path for like 30 years, saying, well, made the decision, got to stick it out, got to stay with this person. And all along, they're living this life of trauma and pain.
And how true that is. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But
That.
and it's not that it's wrong, that's part of their life and their lesson. Yet
Mhm.
if the part of the life and the lesson is actually accepting and learning that our feelings matter.
Right.
And we're supposed to follow that. And I think more than anything, in particular women, but I don't say it's just women, because men do this too, but like the people pleasing type, and the type who care more about others than themselves,
Mhm.
tend to shove that away, and they tend to block their own feelings for what is better for everybody else.
Right.
And yet when they start making decisions for themselves, and that what feels right, then that ultimately is better for everyone else, right?
It is. It
It's
is.
such a messed up way of moving in the world. I just know my life has completely changed, and I got it 100%? No, Joyce.
None of
No,
us do.
I still make those decisions, and I'm like, oh, yeah, here I am again,
Mhm.
feeling like crap,
Yeah,
right? Feeling like
exactly.
crap because
Uh-huh.
I'm doing something that is not aligned with my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know it. You feel
Oh,
you
yes.
know, you go, oh, I shouldn't have made that decision. That wasn't right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it reminds me of my horses have said, when you make that change to come from your heart, not everybody is going to like it. And they may
No.
not follow you. But my one horse said, so what? Leave them behind. He's so funny anyway, and that's just like him. So what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I
And
know. We do
that's,
get caught up in that.
yeah. And to me, that's really the truth, because you find out who really cares about you when you become your true self. When
Yes.
you're masking it and being who you really aren't, those people don't know you. They only know the person they want you to be.
Yeah.
And that's not you.
No.
So,
No, I came to that epiphany quite a few years ago in the marriage that I got out of. And I remember thinking, because I was basically told I wasn't liked, right? And I thought, okay, so I either go back to that masked self, that self that,
right.
was conditioned to show up in a certain way,
Uh-huh.
or I start living more from my truth and my heart. And I remember thinking, well, who is this person in love with anyway?
Right.
If it's not my true self and
Mhm.
it's that conditioned self, then
Yeah.
really it's not real.
It's
You
not.
talk about real, like we're wanting to be real and authentic in life. It's not real. It's all fake and out of a false sense of maybe obligation or how we're supposed to be versus who we truly are.
Oh, how true that is, because it comes to me, that's to me, that's not what true love is. Because
No.
true love is, it's how I explain it, how the animals love you, because they love you for who they see you are from your heart.
Yes.
They're not loving you for your looks. They're not loving you for how you dress or for the mask that you put on to the rest of the world. They love you
Hmm.
from your heart. And
Hmm.
to me, that's what true love is.
Absolutely, Joyce. And wouldn't the world be such a different place if from the time we were little, we would learn to love ourselves in that way?
Yes. Yes. Oh,
Like
wouldn't it?
just like completely fully accept ourselves, regardless of what the body looked like or the face looked like or the color of our skin, what a different life we would be living. And so maybe it is up to the people who are being called to really stand more in the truth of their heart and move from that place is showing others that that is actually the way we were supposed to live.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I so agree, because that's where the magic and the beauty lies,
Hmm.
is when you become that true self that you were created, you were meant to be from the very, very beginning. Because
Yeah,
that's, oh, that is so true. I it's magical when you start to do that.
it
I don't
is.
have any other words to explain it, really. It's a love-filled life, and you see so much more beauty around you, because then you're just living from that heart space and not looking at all the worldly matrix things that you once thought maybe made you happy.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I always say you can't buy happiness. And
No,
and you can try, but it won't last. At least it doesn't for me.
I don't think it does for anybody. Like you said, it might be a temporary
Yeah.
high
Yes.
that you get from, purchasing some big item or some, you know, wild adventure. However, that dissipates if it's not really
Yeah.
coming from your heart space and from what really fills you up
Mhm.
from the inside,
Yes. Yes.
you know.
It's, I feel you have to fill your inside first and just let it overflow. Let your cup overflow with what you
Hmm.
have on the
Hmm.
inside. And
Hmm.
the people that are your true friends and the people that are really looking for something in life, they will follow you. They will be there with you. The ones that are stuck in their ego and their head, yeah, they may walk away, but I always
Yeah.
feel they weren't your true ones from the very beginning anyway.
Right. Or maybe were the ones for that moment in time,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And that kind of goes to what really helps us live from a more heart-centered place is the ability to let go.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
you have to continually do that. Like I'm in that place right now. I'm in a very transitionary place. Again, aren't we always?
Always.
Always. You know? And my old life isn't where the way I want to live anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm having an uprisal of people in my life going, well, hey, you used to do this. Hey, you used to be this way. Like, it's almost like it's inconvenienced them
Uh-huh.
for me
Mm-hmm.
to change.
Oh, oh yes. How true that is. Because one of my main angel just told me the other day, he said, you're in a transitioning period right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some people have said, well, what's wrong with you? You're acting different. Well, I, I probably am.
Yeah.
So it is so true on everything you said on finding that way to live from your heart. And
Yeah. Absolutely.
it's amazing.
It really is. Like I think about, I've had fairly toxic relationships up until recently.
Uh-huh.
And it was like this epiphany went off in my head about a year ago. I'm like, and it was about the feeling, the heart space. And it's
Yeah.
like, how I feel around people matters.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so if I don't feel good around somebody, it doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make
No.
them bad. It just makes them not for me.
Yeah.
And what freedom that is, because then I don't have to be for everybody and they don't have to be for me.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start making that decision, whether it's relationship, whether it's a career, whether it's a life change, when you start making it from that space of, like you said, magic and excitement and love and openness and what feels right and good, then you make better choices for yourself.
Yes.
Like I have made a good choice in a man. I'm finally done it, Joyce. you know? But it came from the heart.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I didn't, think, oh, well, a lot of people get into their lists.
Mm-hmm.
They're very big lists. And I'm not saying that any of that is wrong, but you really ultimately is about being in a space that makes you feel like you can be yourself, that you can, feel really good and make decisions and be supported in that space.
Yeah.
So wherever you choose to go, that's what you want to bring along with you
Yes.
is that feeling, right? That feeling of, yes, I get to be me and other people get to be themselves. And that's how we live from our heart space, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. And I've heard too, when there's someone or a career or something, just release it with love. I
Yeah.
mean, there doesn't have to be a big bad situation. I mean, just release it and let it go with love.
Mhm.
And they have their life to live, or that career they will find someone else to come into that career, and
Yeah.
you'll be in a happier place, and they will be too, because maybe it's someone that fits more into their realm of people. I know when I left my corporate career, they needed somebody that enjoyed more what they liked to do, and I had no interest in that. My heart just wasn't in it. And I'm
Yes.
like, okay, it's time for me to walk away. It's time for them to bring someone else on board with them that fits their mold more. And yeah, they were surprised I walked away, but it was time. And I know
Right.
they found somebody that could fill that place that would fit more into what they were really looking for.
Absolutely. And you think about what your life would be like if you didn't follow that choice.
Yes.
you know,
Oh,
and you were
yes.
still in that, you would probably be depleted, you would be
Uh-huh.
depressed. So if people are listening and they're feeling depleted and they're feeling depressed and maybe even resentful
Yeah.
when they're in a situation, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, and they're having a hard time getting their head off the pillow in the morning, it's probably a good sign to leave. You know, like
Right.
just start asking your heart, okay, what's next?
Hmm.
What else is possible? And yeah, it's scary. It's scary. I'm sure
Uh-huh.
you had a lot of, you know, how am I going to pay my bills?
Yes.
What's going to happen? Where am I going to
Mhm.
live? What about my animals? You know, what about my kids for people? You know, like all of those come up. It's not that if you make a heart-based decision, the fear isn't going to be there. But
Exactly.
if you keep learning to tune into your heart and realize that, okay, the pain of going this direction that my head keeps telling me I have to go isn't worth it anymore,
Yeah.
then you'll just say, okay, I'll be okay. And you know what? It does work out. I'm not sure how. Well, of course we know how. The divine comes in when we
Uh-huh.
finally allow them to.
Yes,
You
it
know,
does.
they come in and they support us and they give us answers that we didn't even think of,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
or
You
couldn't even imagine.
exactly. I love that. They give us answers that we couldn't even think of or imagine because that's exactly the truth. They
Yeah,
open as another scenario, they open so many more doors
they
that
do.
you never even thought that door could open.
Hmm.
And it's amazing how it does. So yeah, that is so true when you just trust your heart. Just
Yeah,
put your trust in it because that's the heart never lies, is what my
it does
horses
not.
have said.
Yeah, your heart, your body don't lie, and neither do your animals. So, you know,
No,
start trusting those things, you know.
exactly.
But, you know, the angels keep bringing up this as an important point. So I'm going to bring it up because, yeah, we do want to live a more heart-centered life, right?
Uh-huh.
A lot of our stuck emotions get in the way of us being able to listen to our heart or hear it.
Yes.
And often we judge, you know, because the way we have been taught in our world, we judge certain emotions and
Mhm.
we suppress them. Oh,
Yeah.
people are so good at stuffing them down to their toes, right?
Yes, definitely.
But what it does is it creates this wall and this block around your heart so that you can't hear it and other people can't hear it either.
Mhm.
That it almost closes it off. And so, yes, we want to feel our magic and our joy and our happiness, and we need to feel our sadness and our anger and our rage and our grief and all of the things that come with living on this planet. And the more that we learn to just allow and express those feelings, the more they'll move through us. They won't be stuck
Mhm.
anymore. And it won't stop us from being able to really tune in and hear our heart anymore. Because sometimes, yeah, the message will be you have to cry today. You
Mhm.
know,
Yes.
you need to express this sadness that you've been feeling. I had the other day, I've been feeling so a lot about what we've been talking about. I last year went and got a job.
Mhm.
I needed to pay some bills and things weren't working and I was feeling depleted. I'm like, okay, I need to shift something here. I need to get out of the house. And so I did. And it was a good decision at the time. It's no
Mhm.
longer a good decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I'm at that point where I'm like, nope. I've hitting the brakes. I'm like, okay, great. It's time to make a different choice. Right.
Yes. Yes.
And I remember sitting last week and I'm going, geez, I'm just feeling drained. I'm feeling sad, all of this. And as I sat and just really sat with my heart and felt all those emotions, the truth came. It's like,
Uh-huh.
you need to leave. I'm like, oh, because we can suppress all of that too, right?
Exactly.
I don't
Yes.
want to feel sad anymore. I just want to be happy. So I'm going
Uh-huh.
to just keep pretending to be happy. Oh, I'm going to make the best out of this
Yeah.
situation. And
Yes.
meanwhile, my heart's going, no, this is sucking the life out of you and you don't like this.
Uh-huh.
So quit telling yourself differently. You know? And I mean, we can do both. Sometimes we do have to make the best out of certain situations and gratitude and opening our heart that way. And we have to fully honor our truth.
Yes. Yes. Yes, we do. We have to fully honor our truth. Oh, I love that. Fully honor our truth. And that's how true it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Chantel, and that is so true because my angels have said too, if you need to cry, cry. And my
Yeah.
horses have said, just let the tears flow. So the animals are so truthful. The angels just, oh, it's just amazing. And
Yes.
Chantel, I cannot believe, I feel like we've barely started chatting.
Are we done?
And this show is coming to a close again. I'm
That's
like,
craziness.
you're kidding me. So before
Uh,
we do close, you have shared so much wonderful knowledge. And would you please share how our listeners can best connect with you?
Absolutely. I have a website. I will say it's not updated, but there's my information on it.
Uh-huh.
And it's called Equine Reflection, no S, so equinereflection.com. And you can check me out there. And it's got my email, my phone number. You can send me a text. We can connect that way.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I must ask, will you return again to my Robust Lifestyle
Oh, I love
shows?
hanging with you, Joyce. Of course I will.
Oh, awesome. And I love hanging with you. It's so much fun. It just goes too fast.
It does. It does. So, I think we need to tell the listeners, like, just start following your heart and trusting and letting go. All
Right.
of those things.
I love it. And I want to wish you magic until you and I connect again on our
You as
Robust
well, Joyce.
Lifestyle show, or we connect again for another Akasha Records reading.
Sounds lovely.
Oh, and with that, I want to thank all of our listeners for listening to this amazing show with our incredible diva, Chantel White. Please share this show with your family and friends. Check out all the other hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. And remember, trust your heart and just listen to your feelings and just let those emotions go how they need to, and let the ego and your head just kind of silence them a little bit and go to that whisper that you hear from your heart. And with that, I want to wish each of you a very, very magical day. Remember, be kind to all, including your animals, and give your animals a great big extra hug and share all your love with them as they so deserve it. Until we connect again on Robust Lifestyles, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.